Hello everyone and welcome again to Minimalist Gourmet, where today I'll be teaching you how to make beef stroganoff. That's right, this delicious and classic dish is super easy to make, only takes one pot and can be made in under 30 minutes. Let's get started. Let's look at our beef here. Today I'll be using a sirloin steak. You can use a sirloin steak, a boneless ribeye, tenderloin even if you're feeling fancy. Any of those will work. You just want to make sure to pick something that's relatively tender, as the short cooking time in this recipe does not lend itself well to cheaper cuts of meat. You want to cut your meat against the grain. So for example, in this piece, if the meat fibers were running in this direction here, we want to cut perpendicular or 90 degrees to them like this. When cutting, you want to make very thin slices as well. These thin slices with these short muscle fibers will remain very tender under this very short cooking process. You want to do about 1/8 of an inch or thinner. I have 3 tablespoons of oil over very high heat, and we are going to fry off our beef. Go ahead and spread out your beef into a thin layer in this hot oil and allow it to fry on this first side for a couple of minutes. It won't take very long to brown as these pieces are quite thin. Once brown on the first side, give everything a flip and cook on the second side. Now this whole process shouldn't take more than about 3 or 4 minutes total. Once your pieces are brown, you're going to pull those off and sit them onto a plate. Return your pan to the stovetop, add 2 tablespoons of butter and 1/2 of a large onion cut into strips. Coat your onions in the butter and allow them to cook over this medium heat. Now, if you would like, you can add about 1/2 pound of mushrooms cut into slices right here at this point. I don't really like them, honestly, so in my recipe today, I'm going to leave them out. Cook this for about 5 to 6 minutes until your mushrooms are lightly browned and nice and tender, and or your onions are completely cooked through and nice and soft. Season this with about 1/2 teaspoon of salt and 1/2 teaspoon of ground black pepper. We're going to add in 2 cloves of minced garlic and allow this to cook for about a minute or 2 before topping everything off with 1 tablespoon of all-purpose flour. Mix this in well and allow it to cook for about a minute or 2 to cook out that raw flour flavor. And now, since we've made a roux out of our flour and butter mixture, that will thicken up our cup of beef broth that we're going to add in here nicely. Go ahead and pour in that cup of beef broth and mix in well so that that roux can start thickening this. Now to this, we're going to add 3/4 of a cup of heavy whipping cream. Make sure to stir this in really well after you add it. This is going to add a tremendous amount of flavor, creaminess, and richness to the dish. A few shakes of Worcestershire sauce followed by 1/4 cup of sour cream. Now we don't want our sour cream to break or separate when we add this, so we need to temper it. We'll do this by adding a few spoonfuls of our hot gravy directly to our sour cream and mixing that in. Now that'll raise the temperature of our sour cream enough that we can add it into our gravy and stir it in to completely integrate it. This will help it from separating, breaking, or curdling. And it's time to add our beef back into our delicious gravy. Go ahead and pour that in along with any accumulated juices and mix this really well into your gravy. Since your steak is already cooked, when you have this over medium heat, as soon as your gravy comes to a simmer like this, it is ready to eat. And honestly, this took less than 30 minutes from start to finish. Traditionally, beef stroganoff is served over egg noodles. You can use pasta, mashed potatoes, rice, really anything that will absorb and mix well with that delicious gravy that we've made. And honestly, guys, it really is just as simple to make this delicious dish at home tonight. This makes a great weeknight meal because you can prepare it from start to finish, including prep, in under 30 minutes, and it only takes 1 pan that you have to wash. Thank each and every one of you so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I hope to see you again here real soon on another episode of Minimalist Gourmet.